In the heart of 18th century Bengal,
Amidst the opulence and intrigue, a name was whispered.
name destined for both glory and tragedy. It was the name of a young prince.
Siraj-ud-Daulah.
His story is not just a chapter in a history book. It is an epic of ambition, betrayal, and the dawn of a new, ruthless era. This is the story of the last independent Nawab of Bengal, a man whose fall would echo through the corridors of time, signaling the end of an empire and the rise of another. Born in 1733, Siraj-ud-Daulah was cradled in the lap of power. He was the beloved grandson of the formidable Nawab Khan, a ruler who had skillfully navigated the treacherous political currents of his time to keep Bengal prosperous and sovereign. From his earliest days, the young prince was groomed for the throne. He was raised within the magnificent walls of the Hazaduari Palace, a world of gilded halls, intricate politics, and the ever-present weight of expectation. Khan saw in his grandson not just a successor, but the future of Bengal itself. He showered him with affection, designated him as his heir, and entrusted him with the hopes of a kingdom. But this favoritism also sowed the seeds of jealousy and resentment among other powerful figures in the court, a venom that would lie dormant, waiting for the right moment to strike. The moment came in 1756. With the passing of Khan, the mantle of leadership fell upon the shoulders of the 23-year-old
Siraj-ud-Daulah. He ascended the throne.
Throne of Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa, inheriting one of the wealthiest provinces in the world. But his throne was far from secure. He was young, impulsive, and surrounded by enemies who smiled to his face while sharpening their daggers behind his back. His own aunt, Kassete Begum, and his cousin, Shakat Jung, openly coveted his power. Yet, a far more dangerous threat was quietly gathering strength on the
horizon, a foreign trading entity
known as the British East India Company. The new Nawab was no fool to the ambitions of these foreign merchants. He had watched with growing alarm as the East India Company, under the pretext of trade, began to transform their trading post in Calcutta into a fortress. They illegally constructed massive fortifications, mounted cannons on the walls of Fort William, and flagrantly abused their trading permits, causing immense losses to the Nawab's treasury. They offered sanctuary to his enemies and acted not as humble traders, but as a rival power on his own soil. For Siraj-ud-Daulah, this was an intolerable challenge to his sovereignty. He sent stern warnings to the British, demanding they dismantle their new fortifications and cease their illicit activities. His warnings were met with arrogant dismissal. The company underestimated the young Nawab, viewing him as just another provincial ruler they could manipulate. They were about to learn how gravely they had misjudged him. Enraged by their defiance, Siraj-ud-Daulah made a decision that would set in motion a chain of events from which there would be no return. In June of 1756, he marched his formidable army south towards Calcutta. The British were caught completely off guard. The Nawab's forces, a vast and powerful host, swept through the company's smaller outposts with ease. Soon, they stood before the walls of Fort William itself. The siege was short and decisive. Panic gripped the British defenders. The governor and senior commanders, in an act of staggering cowardice, abandoned their men and fled down the Hooghly River on ships, leaving the remaining garrison to a hopeless fate. On June 20th, 1756, Fort William fell. The city of Calcutta
was in the hands of Siraj-ud-Daulah. He renamed it Alanagar in honor of his grandfather.
And for a brief, shining moment, it seemed he had successfully asserted his authority and put the foreigners in their place. But this victory was to be forever stained by a dark and controversial chapter of the incident that would become known to the British as the Black Hole of Calcutta. According to the account of one survivor, John Howard, the captured British prisoners were crammed into a tiny dungeon overnight, leading to the deaths of most from suffocation and heat stroke, while the scale and even the intent of the event remained fiercely debated by historians. For the British, it became a powerful and emotive tool of propaganda, tale of native barbarity that cried out for vengeance. News of Calcutta's fall sent shockwaves through the East India Company's headquarters in Madras. Vengeance was indeed what they sought, but also opportunity. To lead the expedition to retake Calcutta, they chose their most cunning and ambitious operative, Colonel Robert Clive. Clive was a man forged in the crucible of conflict, a master of both military strategy and political intrigue. He arrived in Bengal not just to reclaim a city, but to shatter the power of the Nawab for good. After a brief and brutal campaign, the British recaptured Calcutta in early 1757. But Clive knew that a direct military confrontation with the Nawab's full army was a risky gamble. He preferred to fight his battles not on the field, but in the shadows, with weapons of conspiracy and gold. He began to seek out the disaffected and the ambitious within Siraj-ud-Daulah's own court. His search led him to a man whose name would become synonymous with treason in the annals of Indian history, Mir Jafar, the commander-in-chief of the Nawab's army. Mir Jafar was an old, experienced general, but he was also deeply
resentful of Siraj.
He had been sidelined by the young ruler. Clive, through his agents, made him an offer he could not refuse: help the British defeat Siraj-ud-Daulah, and the throne of Bengal would be his. A secret treaty was drawn, signed in deception and sealed with the promise of betrayal. Mir Jafar was not alone. Other powerful figures, including the wealthy banker Jagat Seth and the commander Rai Durlab, joined the conspiracy. Each promised a share of the spoils. The stage was now set for the final, tragic act. The trap was laid, and Siraj-ud-Daulah, unaware of the treachery festering in the heart of his own command, walked right into it. On a humid summer day,
the 23rd of June 1757,
the two armies met on a mango grove
near the village of Plassey.
On one side stood Siraj-ud-Daulah with an army of nearly 50,000 men, a force of cavalry, infantry, and war elephants that seemed invincible. On the other, Robert Clive commanded a modest force of just 3,000, a mix of British soldiers and Indian sepoys. On paper, it was a mismatch of epic proportions. The battle began, and initially, the Nawab's loyal troops fought with courage, their cannons inflicting early losses on the British. But as the day wore on, the betrayal began to unfold. The largest portion of the Nawab's army, under the command of the traitors, Mir Jafar, Rai Durlab, and others, stood motionless on the battlefield. They refused to engage, their silent, inactive ranks a chilling testament to the conspiracy. Seeing his main divisions failing to advance,
confusion and despair seized.
He pleaded with Mir Jafar to fight for his honor, for his Nawab. Mir Jafar, with cold calculation, advised a retreat, promising to fight the next day. It was the final, fatal piece of advice. As the Nawab's loyal troops began to fall back, chaos erupted. Clive, seeing his moment, ordered a decisive advance. The battle turned into a rout. The great army of Bengal, crippled from within, simply dissolved. The Battle of Plassey was over in a matter of hours. It was less a battle and more a transaction, a prearranged transfer of power executed on a battlefield. Defeated and heartbroken, Siraj-ud-Daulah fled the field on a camel, desperately trying to rally what was left of his loyal forces. He raced back to his capital, Murshidabad, but found the city in the grip of his enemies. With a few loyal companions and his wife, he became a fugitive, hunted in the very kingdom he once ruled. His flight was short-lived. He was soon captured near Raj Mahal and dragged back to the capital in chains, a fallen monarch delivered to the mercy of his betrayer. The mercy he received was a swift and brutal death. On the orders of Mir Jafar's son, Siraj-ud-Daulah was executed on July 2nd, 1757. His body was paraded through the streets of Murshidabad before being laid to rest at Kushbagh across the river from his palace. He was only 24 years old. The death of Siraj-ud-Daulah marked a profound and irreversible turning point in history. He is remembered as the last independent Nawab of Bengal, the final sovereign to defy the relentless march of British expansion. Bengal, the richest province of the Mughal Empire, was plundered. Its vast wealth funneled into the coffers of the East India Company, directly financing Britain's Industrial Revolution. The Battle of Plassey was the beginning of the end. It laid the foundation for nearly 200 years of British rule in India, an era of colonial domination that would reshape the subcontinent and the world.
For generations of Bengals,
the name Siraj-ud-Daulah became a powerful
symbol of a tragic hero,
a martyr for independence, and a solemn reminder of the devastating cost of betrayal. His story is not just the fall of a king, it is the story of a nation's soul being lost, a tragedy written in blood and gold, whose echoes still resonate in the heart of a